Hey man, same man, it's your boy, Mr. Spencer, back at it again with another math video. Yeah. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be using this really cool math app. Shout out to Miss Regensburg for sharing this with us. I want us to take a look at the fractions that we saw on the previous slide. So we're going to use this site, appstopmathlearningcenter.org/fractions, shared by your teacher, to take a look at how we can use fraction bars or fraction models to add fractions with unlike denominators. Are you ready? Because I'm ready. All right, let's do it. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to click on the marker at the bottom and make sure that my marker is highlighted. The two fractions that we were working with were 1 over 2 and or plus 4 over 5. Okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this application to help me model the addition of both of those fractions with unlike denominators. Okay? So if I, at the bottom, click on this guy, it's going to ask me how many parts am I working with. When I hear parts means total pieces. How many total pieces is my fraction going to have? So the first fraction that we're looking at is 1 over 2. 1 over 2 has a denominator of 2. The denominator tells us the total parts. So I know that I'm going to click on 2, and now my fraction that I see on my screen is 1/2, or 2 bars, or 1 whole bar broken into 2. Okay, so that is my 1/2 fraction. I'm going to click OK because I'm done with setting that one up. I'm going to go back into the fraction bar option at the bottom of the screen. Now with my second fraction, it's asking me how many total parts. 4/5. So when I see 4/5, I know that the denominator, or the number on the bottom of the fraction bar, is going to tell me how many total parts that I'm working with, right? So 4 over 5, I know that my fraction bar is going to have 5 whole pieces. So I'm going to click on that 5 right there. And then I'm going to click OK. Once I got my fraction bar set up, I'm going to line them up. I might even actually just make them a little bit bigger so we can get a better picture of what we're working with. All right. So now I've got just these boxes on my screen. Like, what do I do with these boxes? What do I got to do? Okay. So my numerator is going to tell me how many pieces that we're actually focusing on, right? So I am going to click in here. Or actually, I don't even have to do that. At the bottom, I'm going to click red. So it's asking me, like, what color do I want to start filling in these boxes? Like we did last week with our classwork when we used that tool at the top of the screen to fill in the boxes. This is exactly what we're doing. So I clicked on red, and I know that I want to fill in 1 box out of the 2 to represent 1/2. Now for my 4/5, I'm going to click another color. Blue is my favorite color, so I'm going to click on blue. I need to shade in 4 out of the 5. 4 out of the 5. So 4 tells us the numerator, or the number of parts that we're actually going to be focusing on. Okay. So from the previous slide, we figured out that if 2 and 5 are our denominators, finding the multiples of those denominators, our least common denominator is going to be 10. If you said 10, you were right on the money. You got it. 10 is our least common denominator, which means that we have to break each of these fractions into 10 equal pieces. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click out of this guy, and I'm going to go back in here. Can I go back in here? No, I can't go back in here. So what I'm going to do, holy moly, moving too fast. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way. I'm going to click on the marker, and I'm going to break each of these into 10 pieces. So if I use this, you hear the Shawn Mendes in the background? That's my thinking music. All right, so now I see that each of these boxes are broken into 5. So now I want to break them into another half. And I'm going to use this guy as a reference because that's a half a piece. I got to break this box into half. I got to break this box into half. And when you say, well, Mr. Spencer, why are you breaking them into a half again? Because I broke them, they were both broken down into 5 equal parts. But remember, our least common denominator is 10. So if our least common denominator is 10, that means that we have to break each of these fractions down into 10 equal parts. Because remember, the denominator tells us how many total parts that we're working with, okay? Let's see. Bloop, 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 bloop. Okay, so now we see that both the top fraction and our bottom fraction are broken down into 10 different parts. And if you don't believe me, you can go ahead and count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And y'all don't be making fun of my lines. I know that they're not straight and they're not totally perfect, but you get the idea, okay? You get the idea. All right, so now we've got, oh no, haha, back. Now we've got our red, or the red fraction line, it's no longer 1/2, but how many red boxes are filled in now that we've cut them into half? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of how many total at the top? Remember, our least common denominator tells us that our denominator is going to be 10 for both of our new equivalent fractions, right? We know that. Easy peasy. So now we've got to add, how many total blue squares do we see shaded in now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 out of, what is our denominator going to be? Remember, we did it at the top fraction, so we got to do it to the bottom fraction as well, right? It's 10. Both of them share that least common denominator. They share that same denominator. So we got 5 plus 10, 5/10, or 5/10, plus 8/10, or 8/10, right? So now 5/10 plus 8/10 give you what? Did you say 13/10? I heard somebody say 13/10. You said 13? You said 13/10? No, you said 13/10. I got you. I heard everybody that said it. 13/10. 13/10. 8 plus 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13/10. 13/10. This is an improper fraction, and it's improper because the numerator is larger than the denominator. We're going to get to that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's see how we can use this application to help us add fractions with unlike denominators. Till next time, peace.